the French no luxury.
Discover the all-new 252 DS Automobiles range at Hugo Luna Motors.
Experience pure driving pleasure with DS Automobiles, the French luxury car company.
DS's premium range stands out through its charismatic style, interior refinement, sophisticated technology, and first-class comfort. Book your test drive today and discover the magic of DS Automobiles at hugolunamotors.ie.
Mr. Fix-It is here to take on your DIY dilemmas. Text or WhatsApp to 083 3010 103.
Brian Cloonan joins us in studio and he is here to answer your DIY questions. 083 3010 103. Brian, how's the form?
Fantastic. Sunny day.
You miss having
Wind's not here.
No,
everything's coming up.
I
sunshine.
know you miss him.
It's just fantastic.
I know it's going to be.
The out in the newsroom. So I walked into the studio. Into the station, and I looked in the window and I saw you, and I smiled like a Cheshire cat. And I was told that wasn't nice.
Well, look, it's more important to be honest with your feelings.
Well, I usually am extremely honest with my feelings towards Mr. Faulkner.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we honestly wish him the best in getting a breather from the gig at the moment.
Yeah, well, hopefully the rash clears up.
Indeed. It's a long-running issue he's had there.
Yes, it is.
It seems like any time he's absent, it gets worse.
Just goes to show, like one night in Soho, and it can have long-lasting ramifications for years afterwards.
I'm sure he's.
But I'm sure, look, like the research, I believe the research on it is improving the whole time, and someday they will wipe out that particular disease.
You wouldn't know anything about that. We have a message from Brian saying that struggling with a lot of moths in the house at the moment. 2 merino wool jumpers, merino wool jumper destroyed 2 T-shirts. How to get rid of them? Are they very prevalent at the moment? Are you getting inquiries about them?
Yeah, so look, what happens is when the weather gets cold, the creatures that are outside decide to come in.
Okay.
So be it moths, spiders, mice, even rats sometimes, but unusually. But they all, look, would you like to have slept outside last night?
No, come one, come all. Let's have them all in.
So I suppose the first thing you'd be saying is, just be aware of keeping, if you leave a window open and you have a light on in the room, you're going to attract in moths. We know they're attracted to light. Yeah. If you leave a window open, like if the window's closed and the light on, you'll sometimes see a moth banging against the window. But if the window is open, they'll come in. They're looking for it. They're looking for light. They're looking for heat. They're looking to come in and lay their eggs and start a family, and keep everyone in the family nice and warm and dry. And that's your house. So as much as you can, you still want ventilation. So if you have a shower, you need to open the window. Yeah. But if it's nighttime, maybe have the shower, open the window, leave the bathroom, turn off the lights. There you go. In terms of keeping them out, I suppose a couple of things. If you put, I don't know how long it lasts. If you put peppermint oil, if you rub neat peppermint oil onto the edges of windows, spiders that are likely to crawl over it, they don't like the peppermint oil. I just don't know how long it lasts. The other one that's very effective is there are various residual insecticides like Insectrol and Death Lac. There's a great name.
What a name.
Yeah, Death for lacquer, so Death Lac. But I think the strongest of them is the Insectrol. That's made by Rentokil, and you just spray that on any surface. Lasts for about 3 to 4 months.
So around the frame of the window.
Around the frame of the window, and if a spider decides to crawl in, they die.
And is that the inside or outside or both sides?
On the inside.
On the inside.
Mainly because it'll just last so much. Either will do.
The outdoor, the weather could knock it off.
If you do it on the inside, they'll die. They'll die when they crawl over it. And I suppose if you do it on the outside, it'll work just as well. It just won't last as long.
Seasonally, moths, do they stop becoming an issue then when the temperature really bites?
No, so they'll stop coming in. It's the ones that are in there at the moment that this listener needs to deal with. So a few options. One would be a bug bomb, which is the thing that you light and it gives out a vapour. It's not. There's only flame for about 10 seconds, and then this thing just smoulders. There's no smell from it, and it kills every insect in the room, from spiders to moths to bed bugs to woodworm, believe it or not. And then the other option would be for the likes of the moths. You have a few options. You have the pheromone traps. So, you know the way Will Faulkner in his youth found it hard to get a moth?
I could only imagine.
That's because he hadn't got the correct pheromones. So the pheromone traps, yes, they work. They give out a smell that attract the moths, and then they stick to it, and they work. They work quite well. The new mothballs, and you're probably not old enough to remember the smell of the old-fashioned mothball.
Correct and right.
Oh my God! Well, I don't know. I just thought it was the most horrific smell. People will remember. My association with it is we went to Mass every Sunday, and like many families, we sat in the same seats.
Yeah.
You know, you had your seat practically, or certainly the same area, but almost the same seat. And we won't say her name. We'll call her Mrs. Hollywood.
Okay,
right?
Thanks for that.
So
yeah.
Mrs. Hollywood sat at the end of our seat, and the jostling and that used to go on within our family not to sit beside Mrs. Hollywood,
dear.
because she used mothballs in the extreme. So she stank of mothballs. She was obviously oblivious to it, but it was a very strong smell. Now, they worked. They killed the moths. They're now illegal because they were carcinogenic. But the new mothballs...
Poor Mrs. Hollywood.
Yeah. My sympathies, by the way.
Yeah,
my sympathies in that. The new mothballs smell of lavender, but they also do kill the mothballs. They're not like the cedarwood balls, which do smell nice, but they just slightly discourage them. So they just move them from point A to point B.
Oh, okay.
So they don't really kill them. What else have you got? You have the various hanging units that you can hang. If you've clothes hanging in a wardrobe, you can get hanging units that, again, give out a lavender-scented scent, but they do actually kill them as well. So all of those are options of dealing with the moths.
Just on the topic of creatures coming in through the windows, Martina in Burr, what could be used for ants coming through the windows even though it's closed? So would you similarly
well,
use
ants
the same
will rarely
stuff?
come through the window, to be honest.
Okay.
So the insectorol will work.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with ants is they're actually incredibly intelligent creatures. So now ants are normally coming up from the ground from pipework. It's very hard to keep them out because they're just so resourceful. And if they come in and find that there's food anywhere in the house, particularly anything sweet. So what happens if you see a few ants during the day and they have found something sweet, they then report back to the commander-in-chief back in the nest, which is outside somewhere, and the commander-in-chief will send out genuinely an army of ants. So he'll send out the worker ants who will be corralled by the soldier ants to go to the spot that the sweet stuff was found, and they will bring it back in. So if you were to put a little pile of sugar on the ground, it'll all be gone tomorrow, because 1,000 ants will have come and collected it, 1 grain of sugar at a time, and brought it back.
Amazingly impressive.
If you spill Coke on the ground, and they will come back and they will take a droplet at a time back to the nest. So they are very resourceful. So it's either the insectorol will work because it kills any insect that crawls over it, but really for the ants you're better with the bait stations. So the bait stations, you'll get ants all year round, but predominantly really during the summer. So if you're getting them in weather like this when it's gone very cold, that would indicate that they may have a nest within the house or within the structure where it's more protected from the frost.
Okay.
And then the bait stations are best.
When we return, we're going to answer questions about how to deal with noises in your attic.
Introducing the all-new 252 electric range at Hugo Luna Motors.
See our Peugeot E2008, now available in electric.
This bold SUV boasts a striking design with sleek LED headlamps and a redesigned grille for a powerful presence.
With zero CO2 emissions and 156 HP of power, the E2008 delivers efficiency and performance.
Discover more at hugolunamotors.ie. Drive the future today.
Mr. Fixes with Brian Cloonan. Call 0818 300 183 and put our toolman to the test.
Our toolman is in studio from Cloonan's Hardware in Tullamore. Brian, we have a message from Dan in Portlaoise. She says, we moved into our new house 6 weeks ago. They're very excited. It's their first house and they've got great plans for it. Yeah, that's lovely, actually, to hear. Unfortunately, for the last couple of nights, nightmare scenario here, they're hearing noises in the attic. He's sure it's mice, but it does sound very, very loud. He's put down poison as well up there, but they don't seem to be touching it. He's looking for advice.
Okay, well, I suppose the first thing is, if you build a new house, if you're a new build, you'll nearly always have mice or worse in the house.
Really?
Yeah, particularly this time of the year. So, we all, if we have a house, you tend to find, everybody gets mice at some stage, really. You'd be the exception, unless you're surrounded by cats. Everybody tends to get mice at some stage. So it's all about making the house as mouse-proof as you can. And a new house, a new build like that, there's certainly no builder ever tries to make the house mouse-proof. It's a thing you tend to do yourself afterwards. So have a good look around the house. Check from kind of 2 meters down. Is there any pipework coming out that's not filled in properly? I guarantee you, every pipework that comes out, if you're putting a pipe through a wall, you don't, if the 40 mil outside diameter pipe, they drill a 50 millimetre hole because they need a little bit of play to get it in.
And you only need that much of a space.
If you can get a biro, if you could get the refill from a biro in it on the flat, not just that round hole, but they can fold themselves remarkably flat.
No way.
So the other one is vents. If you have vents, there's a hole drilled and a plastic cover put over it. Very often the bottom of the vent is not sealed, so they put a bit of silicone around the vent, but they do both sides in the top because that's all you can see. That's all the human eye can see. If it's down near the ground, they don't see underneath, so you don't fill it. But that's where the mouse sees. The mouse is on the ground looking up, not standing, 2 meters tall, looking down.
Of course.
So that's an entry point. So seal up everything as best you can. Now, Dan said that he put poison in the attic. I'd be very slow to use poison in the house because of the smell. So if the poison works, then what happens? You get dead mice.
Yes.
If they die in the attic, that's fine insofar as you won't really smell them downstairs.
And the smell is horrendous.
Oh, it's not a nice smell.
Yeah.
Now, it's only there for about a week or 10 days in the case of a mouse. If it's a rat, it's there for weeks and weeks, and it is truly horrendous. But a mouse that takes poison can die in the wall cavity. And the wall cavity, it could be beside the socket in your bedroom, and you're going to bed in a room that smells of dead mouse. It's really not nice. So I wouldn't use poison in the house. I would suspect in this case he probably got a rat poison, which is not as attractive to mice. So if you're going to use poison, if you want to use mouse poison in the shed, say, then try and get for something. There's 2 or 3 different brands that do it. It's like a little tea bag, but it's quite moist and it's very sweet. And they're really attracted to both the moisture, because mice don't drink water. Rats need to drink actual water. They need a puddle of water. Mice never drink water. They just get enough moisture from what they're eating or chewing wood that has condensation in it or whatever. But so because mostly the pasta based, because the pasta parcels, the little pasta tea bags, have both a sugary flavour on them and moisture in it, they're really attracted to it and they work really well. And in the case of an attic, you could stand at the entrance and just throw them, because they're like heavy little tea bags, if you like. They're only the size of a tea bag, they look like a tea bag, but they're a bit heavier, so they will throw, and they have a pasta paste in it. But as I say, that's only if you don't mind the smell of dead mouse. So I would always say use traps, and we get this during the winter now. I'd say there certainly won't be a single week in the year goes by where 2 or 3 times we'll have somebody in adamant
Go on.
that it's rats. No, a mouse couldn't make that much noise.
Really?
But in the small wee hours of the morning, with no competing noise and a scratching noise in the attic, it sounds like a herd of elephants up there.
The human mind magnifies it as well.
Yeah, no, it reverberates through the house. It's the way that design of the house. It's up overhead. It travels across the floorboards, and it just sounds terrible.
Just on the traps.
Yeah.
How effective are the humane traps?
Oh, they're very effective.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an option if people don't fancy
100%.
snapping
Just put the usual thing. Put the peanut butter. So the best bait is peanut butter. It's a very strong smelling, very attractive to mice and rats, but mice in particular. And just make sure you drive them a good distance away. Don't just go out to the backyard and let them go and have them come straight back in again, because then it's like, if you walk into if the farmer comes into a field with a bale of silage or whatever whatever feed he's going to put down for animals, they come running. Same thing. They if you put down food every night, and they'll just come back in and go straight back to the feeding point.
There's a few things here. So if it's the say a new house, it's checking the perimeter of the premises to make sure that you've kind of sealed the places that would be easy or possible for them to get into.
Sure.
Then there's obviously trying to eradicate the ones that are in the house with say traps, as you'd be recommending. And then there's, I suppose, your own behavioural approach to food and waste, and being conscious that you're not incentivising them to come back in.
Yeah, so don't leave doors open for the same reason that the moths come in through the open windows. If a mouse is outside and he feels the waft of warm air coming from outside and he's out in the cold, he is going to run in. And indeed, a rat can run in through an open door. They don't generally tend to be in the house, but it can happen. If there's a smell of food coming out through an open door. So just be aware of, it's very easy for very simple door closers. If you have small kids that tend to leave doors open, fit a door closer and then the door is always closed. And I suppose also worth pointing out that the ultrasonic electromagnetic pest repellers do work quite well. Yeah. Now, they are preventative rather than, they don't drive out a mouse that's in there, but they're quite good at keeping the mice out.
Okay.
So most people, when they use them, they find they don't generally have a problem with them.
The ultrasonic stuff wouldn't work for snails, I presume.
No, not at all.
Mary in Mullingar is getting snails on her kitchen floor. She's not sure where they're coming from and she does not know how to get rid of them.
So again, they can flatten themselves to a very, very, almost completely flat.
That makes sense, yeah.
You're getting the... Nearly all slug pellets now are organic slug pellets, so they don't affect birds or other creatures. But you can put it inside or outside if you don't like the look of them. The organic ones are quite small anyway, but you can also, if you want, put them in a plastic bag and get a roller, what you call it, roller, baking roller, and crush them.
You're not a keen baker by the sense of it.
No. But I am a keen eater of sweet food, I have to say, unfortunately.
That doesn't involve a rolling pin.
No, a rolling pin, it just wouldn't come to me. So you can crush the pellets even smaller with a rolling pin, and you can put them inside and outside along the door saddle and brush them in with a brush, but they can't really be seen, but the slug will still crawl over them. And vents, the other place you're looking at are vents or pipe work. So if it's in the kitchen, maybe look at where the pipes are coming in from the kitchen sink, look at the kitchen floor and look at vents, and that will kill them. That will kill them quite quickly. And dead snails don't crawl around the place.
Okay, when we return, we're going to figure out how to get oil out of tarmac.
Mr. Fix-It is here to take on your DIY dilemmas. Text or WhatsApp to 083 3010 103.
I am joined by Mr. Fix-It, Brian Cloonan. Brian, we have had Siobhan in for ban message in asking about the temperature that it needs to be in terms of sowing daffodil and tulip bulbs.
Oh, now.
You can do it now.
Yeah, now is really perfect. So you don't want the ground to be frozen. Not just from a lazy point of view for yourself, but for the bulbs. The bulbs, you'd want to get them into the ground and let them get a little bit of a head start before the ground gets really... Obviously, they survive the frost, they survive the cold, but they do better if they start that little bit earlier. So this is perfect weather for doing it. And I would always say if you're doing them, if you're doing... What did you say, daffodils?
And tulips,
get yourself a small, rather than get a bulb planter, which is a lot of work. So a bulb planter is brilliant in that it makes a circular hole and it takes out the little plug and then you put the bulb down, but it's a lot of work. So I would always say just a spade, put it at an angle. So if you imagine you have a long-handled spade, you put it in at an angle, you lift up, so you push the handle away from
Create a cavity.
And that creates a cavity, drop in the bulb, and then lift the thing straight up and the soil will just fall. It's so much quicker than trying to use a bulb planter.
Oh, that sense.
And it does make life... Because I love bulbs, I have to say. They come back every year. Sow them in the right place. They come back every year. Colour... Anything that is low maintenance and very little work, that's what flower
That's your
bulbs.
style.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It really is. And then always remember, you have to let them... Don't make the mistake some people make. Let them die away. They have to die away after they flower. Sometimes people say, I'll take away all the greenery because it looks untidy. They have to die away. You will kill bulbs, they will stop flowering. So years ago, I know I was involved in a project where we donated thousands and thousands of bulbs. Not me personally, sorry, the Lions Club Tullamore donated thousands of bulbs. And in many places they're still there flowering away to this day. But in some cases, they were sown in grassland, which not grassland, say at the side of the road or whatever, and they do really well there in the grass. It's no problem. They don't need to be fertilised. They'll come back themselves. They fertilise themselves by the dying back process. But if you put them in grassland, and then when they die away, in the case of daffodils, when the yellow flowers are gone, and you get the lawnmower out and cut everything away, 2 years of that, they're gone.
Just running over it with a lawnmower
is enough to
really
kill them.
destructive in terms of its regeneration.
But they do well in more or less everywhere. So put them in a spot that you're not going to have to come back afterwards with the lawnmower or feel the need to break away the dead foliage afterwards.
Put up with a little bit of unseemly dying plant for a few weeks and you'll be well set for the next season. Here's one from Allo in Athlone. A truck delivered goods to us recently. When it was gone, it left an oil stain on the tarmac. That's annoying. How do you tackle something like that?
Well, the first thing is if it happens to you now, if you're arrive home this evening and it's just after happening, have you any compost? Have you any wood pellets? Brilliant. You know the wood pellets you burn in wood. Brilliant. Get those. Basically make sawdust out of them. So again, the rolling pin.
Yes, indeed.
Or put them in a bag and beat them with a hammer. Make them as absorbent as possible and sprinkle it on and absorb up as much as you can. So anything that's absorbent, compost, dry peat moss, dry compost, anything like that, as quickly as you can to absorb up the bulk of it. And then what you would do is maybe hoover all that off, blow all that off, brush it all off, and then get, if it's still there, which there will be a residue, oil stain remover. There's loads of them out there, like crud cutter. You'll get them in hardware shops. You'll get them in motor factories as well, because obviously motor factories have to deal with, anybody who does work with cars has to deal with that occasionally. Okay. So most of those are dispersants. So you put it on, you leave for a few minutes, you scrub it in, you put hot water, and then you hose it all off.
Similar premise to salt on red wine on a carpet then?
Correct, exactly.
Speaking from some slight experience.
Or sodium peroxide with spilled blood.
With spilled blood?
Yes.
How would you know that now?
Because our brand new couch was in a week and our dog went into heat.
Oh my God.
White couch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. It came out perfectly.
Was it sodium peroxide?
Peroxide.
Okay, there you go.
Hairdressers would use it. I don't use it for my own hair, just to be clear.
Just to be clear?
Just to be clear. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, Brian is a font of knowledge and sometimes he manages to take you aback with some of his responses. That's all we have time for this morning.
Great.
We'll chat to you next Wednesday, Brian. Thanks very much for your time. David.